Hey, what's happening everyone? My name is Speedstreak. Welcome to Speedstreak Discussion. We discuss news, topics, updates, discussions, and reactions related for video games, movies, TV shows, comic books, and anything geek related. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about Sonic Channel. And for those of you who haven't heard about what Sonic Channel is, it is the official website created by Sega themselves, which is dedicated to the lore and history of Sonic the Hedgehog. And what's interesting is that it was originally released back in 2005, and I've heard it was recently updated to give you lore and information about Sonic, his friends, his video game history, and as well as a lot of other things. And as you've seen from the video, we're going to be looking into what appears to be the official chronological history of the Sonic the Hedgehog series, and I'm actually really interested to see what we have in store here. And yeah, I know that a lot of fans have been wondering what Sonic's history has been, but we have put together. I remember in the Sonic Wiki regarding Earth, aka Sonic's world, that we have pieced together what happens from the beginning of time to now we know that we know the origins from the Chaos Emeralds, to Dark Gaia, to the Echidna Clan, to the ancient civilization that created the Geezoids, to eventually modern day, which eventually led to Project Shadow, and eventually Sonic and Eggman, of course, becoming enemies, and Sonic becoming the hero of Earth, to of course modern times, which is now post Frontiers, and now current in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And yeah, it's really cool that we have officially created an official timeline. So let's take a look at Sonic Channel to see what it's like, to see what the official history looks like. Alright everyone, here we are in the Sonic Channel website, and here we are in the Sonic World History section. And yeah, it looks... well, the thing is that I've never actually been to the Sonic Channel, and I almost forgot to tell you guys that Sonic Channel also releases different artwork of each character, and they look really beautiful. And I really like how they are designed. But yeah, so starting off, we see that we're in, we see a bit of Professor Pickles' university laboratory from Spagonia, and we also get to see bits and elements of cutscenes from the past Sonic games as well, which is really cool. Alright, so here we are at the prehistory. The destruction and regeneration by Dark Gaia and Light Gaia. So, okay, so this right here is where, we know about Sonic, the beginning of Sonic's world, aka Sonic World Adventures, aka Sonic Unleashed. At some point, Dark Gaia, which grew over millions of years, destroyed the Earth, and Light Gaia healed it, repeating the same history. Okay, so it does look as if that Dark Gaia and Light Gaia have begun, first before the Ancients arrived with the Chaos Emeralds. So, I wonder if, since the Chaos Emeralds weren't on Earth, weren't on Earth when Dark Gaia and Light Gaia began to, began their cycle, I wonder if it was the Master Emerald which led to Light Gaia, which led to giving Light Gaia, aka Chip, his power to stop Dark Gaia and to seal it back into the Earth's core. I wonder about that. And what's cool is that we could also click on these links for more information, and this also leads to to each game's wiki, each game's description. Yeah, that's right. It's gonna. Okay, this is a bit slow. Okay, so yeah, here we are in Sonic World Adventure, which, yeah, it shows a lot. It shows more information about it. So yeah, it is really cool that we can check out each game, and it is really cool that they typed in they have the information here for Sonic World Adventure. I mean, not just for Sonic World Adventure, aka Sonic Unleashed, but as well as the other Sonic games as well, which we will look into later after checking out the world history. Yeah, not only that, I almost forgot to tell you guys, there is actually a fan game of Sonic Unleashed called, if I remember correctly, Sonic Unleashed Recompiled, in which you are able to play a PC version of Sonic Unleashed. And yeah, what you have to do is that you have to go to a website called GitHub. And what you have to do is that you also have to make sure you have an Xbox 360 to be able to connect to the PC. Well, there are actually videos on how to do that, but yeah, be sure to look that up. Excuse me. Okay, so after Dark Gaia and Light Gaia cycle began, this is when the ancients arrive on Earth after the destruction of their world by the end. The ancients and the Chaos Emeralds. The ancients take refuge on Earth with the Chaos Emeralds. A small number of their descendants escape to a place called the Mystic Ruins and build a temple to the Master Emerald. And over the course of hundreds of thousands of years, the ancients become the Chow. I almost forgot to mention, you guys, that in the most recent, that Sonic's world is officially named Earth, and it is an alternate Earth. Let me tell you. And I am glad that they're officially, that Sonic's world is officially named Earth, and not just sorry, and sorry about that. I'm having a bit of a cough. But yeah, it is really cool that Sega has officially confirmed that Sonic's world is back to Earth, is back to being Earth. Quick pause before I continue on the world history. I want to let you guys know that the official Sonic and DC crossover comic series is officially out. Yes, everyone, issue 1 of the Sonic and DC crossover comic series is officially out, and it is awesome. It is freaking so cool. It's so good. And the issue 1 is actually available online for sale, for whether you want to buy it physically or digitally, either way. And it is really cool. And not only that, but this is officially canon. Yes, everyone, Sonic and the Flash are Sonic versus the Flash is officially canon, and it is so good. It is so freaking good. And by the way, if you haven't read it yet, please go check it out, and I absolutely can't wait for the next couple of issues. Alright, so it looks like the ancients before they became Chow, so it's been over hundreds of thousands of years. So I believe at this time, the ancients would learn about Dark Gaia and Light Gaia, and I believe they would, besides building a temple to the Master Emerald, I believe they would have built the Gaia temples to help everyone around the world, and especially Light Gaia, just in case Dark Gaia reawakens again to cause darkness and destruction around the world again. And I believe that to be true, because I remember that the ancients, that many of the ancient symbols, when you go throughout, when you run across the green symbols in Sonic Frontiers, they do look similar to when you place the Chaos Emeralds in the small altars within the Gaia temples, which is possible. And yeah, I believe it. I believe it to be a possibility, which it could be plausible. And I also remember in Team Sonic Racing that when you're in the Sky Road level, when you're going through a tunnel, you also see on the walls, like well, symbols of chaos, and it could be referring to the ancients. And since Chaos himself is a Chao, well, an evolved Chao, aka a descendant of the ancients, it is a plausibility. Okay, so once again, here we are with Dark Gaia, and we're here at tens of thousands of years ago, in which we see once again Dark Gaia, well, doing the cycle again. Dark Gaia's destruction of Earth, the earliest record. The Earth is destroyed by a super energy life form called Dark Gaia that emerged from the core of a star. What? That emerged from the core of a star? Don't you mean Earth? I think that's what they meant, actually. This event was later recorded in the ancient documents known as, well, the Gaia documents. Yeah, I think that he meant by that emerged from the core of Earth. I believe so. I wonder if Dark Gaia could be a dark manifestation of the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds. It is possible. I'm not really sure, but I do believe that my theory that the ancients helped build the Gaia temples still stands, because since the ancients arrived with the Chaos Emeralds, they must have learned about the first cycle of Dark Gaia, and with the help of Light Gaia, created the Gaia temples. And this time, Light Gaia was prepared with both the Master Emerald and the Chaos Emeralds for the second cycle of Dark Gaia's destruction of Earth. And it could be the second cycle. And of course we know that Eggman, well, prematurely awakened Dark Gaia after he split the Earth into 7 pieces with the help of the Chaos Emeralds. And that could also be the third cycle, but I'm not really sure. Here we go. Okay, so after Dark Gaia and Ancients, the Babylonians have arrived. Tens of thousands to thousands of years? The ancestors of the Babylonian bandits washed up on Earth. A spaceship from faraway space goes out of control, and the race known as the ancestors of the Babylon bandits, or the Babylon rogues, crash lands on Earth. The engine unit of the ship that was separated at that time is scattered around the world, and later becomes to be called the Ark of the Stars. The exact time is unknown. And it is okay. This right here, this is officially confirmed that the Sonic Riders trilogy is officially canon, and that is really cool that they connected the Sonic Riders series here, and that is really cool. That is really cool that they give a bit of a description of what happened to the ancestors of the Babylon rogues, aka the Babylonians, in Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. But yeah, I don't know much about the Babylonians, but it is really interesting. Sorry. But yeah, well, yeah, once again, we don't know much about the Babylonians, or, well, aka Jet's ancestors, or the Babylon Rogue's ancestors, but hopefully we'll learn a bit more about them, probably in future Sonic games. I'm not sure, but hopefully. Okay, here we go. So this is where we get to, well, a little bit, knowing a bit more of Sonic's history. Thousands of years ago, aka, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 4,000 years ago that this happened. The Echidna tribe is destroyed by the wrath of chaos. The Echidna tribe attacks the temple of the Master Emerald to steal it, but their child companions are sacrificed, and the Echidna tribe is wiped out by the enraged chaos. Okay. I think they meant, well, that their child companions were hurt, in fact, because I actually do remember this. But yeah, I remember this when I played Sonic Adventure, and yeah, they attacked the Temple of the Master Emerald, well, to steal the Chaos Emeralds to fight off against their surrounding enemies. But unfortunately, well, Tikal tried to stop her father Pachacamac and his warriors, and unfortunately that did lead to the child getting hurt, and Chaos getting really ticked off that his family is getting hurt. Well, absorbed the negative power of the Chaos Emeralds to become perfect chaos, and nearly led to the near destruction of the Echidnas. But of course, we know that this is also when Tikal sealed herself and Chaos inside the Master Emerald, and that part of the Mystic Ruins eventually became Angel Island. And that's where the Echidnas lived for the rest of their lives, protecting the Master Emerald until Knuckles the Echidna. Ooh, okay, so we're heading 2,000 years ago. The Black Arms, preparations for the invasion of Earth. Black Arms drop a flying temple on Griffith on Earth. Okay, so this is where we get our first mention of the Black Arms. Okay. So I wonder if the Black Arms have known about the Echidna tribe being destroyed by the Wrath of Chaos. For the Black Arms would have known about the Chaos Emeralds as well. And I did talk about this in my Joe Robotnik's journal analysis, that it is possible that the Black Arms and the Ancients may have known each other, and there are certain elements of the Black Arms that look similar to the other ancient tribes, which, from what I remember from the Sage and Sonic Frontiers, that there were originally 5 tribes of ancients. One which were the original ancients that we have seen in flashbacks. The second one is the ancients with upper bodies, with upper body strength, and the second ones were ancients which have 4 legs. And the fourth ones which have a tail instead of legs, and the fifth tribe which have wings. And not like that, but she did tell Sonic that the surviving ancients based the Titans off those tribes when they were wiped out by the end. And we did see that there are some similarities with the Black Arms have similar descriptions with the other ancients. So it is possible that the Black Arms may have known about the Chaos Emeralds, and of course, seeing Earth as nothing more than as a place for to feed his young. Black Doom, of course, over time, as it says right here, dropped a flying temple Griffith on Earth, and of course, eventually led to making Joe Robotnik a Faustian deal with him to create Shadow. Okay, so yeah, after that, Emerald is born. Okay, so we officially have confirmation that Sonic Battle is canon, which is really cool. In an ancient civilization, combat robots called Gizoids are created, one of which is later named sorry. Yeah, so this is the fourth great civilization. Actually, looking back at the Black Arm's preparations for the invasion of Earth, I wonder if this ancient civilization originally created these combat robots, originally created the Gizoids to protect the Earth from the Black Arms. I wonder. I wonder about that. Excuse me. I think that it could be a possibility that since the Gizoids themselves are created to copy any weapons in any type of combat, I wonder if the ancient civilization, the reason why they created the Gizoids that way is that they'll be able to use the Black Arms' weaponry as well as combat against the Black Arms. Ooh, what if that was? What if that's it? What if the ancient civilization did do that? But unfortunately, we later learned that the Gizoids eventually, got out of control, and that led to that civilization's destruction. And of course, since when the Gizoids are close to a Chaos Emerald, yeah, it makes them go crazy. I really do wonder if the Gizoids were originally created to combat against the Black Arms when they returned to Earth. That could be a possibility. Once again, I'm not really sure. Alright, here we go. Here we go. We're getting close. So here we are in the more recent timelines. Starting off with 50 years ago. Of course, with Black Doom and the Dark Pact. Black Doom contacts Professor Gerald and offers up his own DNA in exchange for guidance on how to invade Earth 50 years from now. Shadow is then created from that DNA. Well, technically it's more on an exchange for the Chaos Emeralds, and since Black Doom himself knows about Chaos Control to bring the Black Comet to Earth, and then spread his poisonous neurotoxic gas to paralyze everyone and make Earth a feeding ground for his offspring, which is really still dark. But of course, Joe Robotnik saw through his evil plans and created the Eclipse Cannon for Shadow to use it against the Black Arms. And of course, Joe Robotnik himself originally wanted to make the deal to help save Maria, who was suffering from a very terrible disease. But once again, he saw through Black Doom's evil schemes. Yeah, it is really cool that we're seeing this official timeline. Oh yes, and here comes the Ark Destruction Incident. The ancient combat robots, the Gizoids, that were the subject of research within the Ark, got out of control, causing extensive damage to the Ark facilities. This is one of the reasons why GUN intervenes in Ark. And we actually did see this a bit in the Sonic and Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings episode, which we see Shadow talking with Maria until, well, of course 50 years ago, until Emerald got out of control and Shadow has to quickly run across the Ark to stop Emerald from getting out of control, but as well as to stop the artificial chaos from getting out of control as well. But unfortunately, from what we've read from General Robotnik's diary, it was too late. And that was when GON came to the Ark and shut everything down, and yeah. And here we are. GON attack on the Ark. Maria is killed in a sudden GON attack. Gerald, who has lost his mind due to his granddaughter's robbery, aka death, prepares to take revenge on the Ark system and Shadow, but he is also imprisoned and executed. Yeah. It's really tragic. Yeah, it is really tragic with what happened to Shadow's family, and not only Gerald and Maria, but as well it affected the entire Robotnik family as well as it affected the entire Robotnik family. And from what I remember reading Gerald Robotnik's diary, we did read that Gerald Robotnik's sons were gradually drifting apart, and I think that Gerald and Maria's deaths were the straw that broke the camel's back, and that just destroyed the Robotnik family. And we all know that that led to Gerald Robotnik becoming insane, and yeah. Alright, so we get a reference to Sonic 06. 10 years ago, Sonic and Aeris they need to fix that, and Elise altered history. Sonic and Elise go back in time and blow out the Solaris flames, which are the source of the tragedy. This means that the Solaris experiment never failed, the world is saved from crisis, and the devastated future becomes a peaceful world. However, this series of events also never happened in history. Yeah, and that's... This is what we know from the events of Sonic 06, and of course there was some time travel shenanigans, and both Sonic and Elise realized that the only way to save time and prevent Solaris from destroying time is to blow out the Solaris flames. And this is when we see the original timeline. The Solaris experiment failed. Iblis's seal. When King Soliana's Solaris experiments fail, he sacrifices his own life to prevent the flames of disaster from being awakened and destroying the world, sealing Iblis within his daughter, Elise. Yeah, I remember playing this in Sonic 06 in both Silver's story and Shadow's story, with Silver helping the King of Soliana help seal Iblis into Elise, and Shadow, of course, sealing Mephiles in the Scepter of Darkness. Oh, and here we are with the classic Sonic era. Dr. Eggman, aka Dr. Ivo Robotnik, attacks South Island. Sonic defeats Dr. Eggman, who attacks South Island to steal the Chaos Emeralds and prevents him from taking over the world. And yeah, it is really cool that we are officially in the classic era. And we still have got a bit of a long ways to go with the modern era and 200 years later. But it is still really cool that we still have an official signed timeline. and yeah, I was right. And it looks like I was right about Sonic CD taking place after Sonic 1. Sonic rescues Amy, who was kidnapped by Metal Sonic. Amy, who had a fateful encounter with Sonic on Little Planet, became embroiled in Dr. Eggman's evil deeds and was kidnapped by Metal Sonic. Sonic defeated Metal Sonic and rescued Amy, thus thwarting Dr. Eggman's ambitions. Yeah, this is officially confirms that Sonic CD takes place after Sonic 1 and before Sonic 2, which is still really cool. And I also remember that that was officially confirmed in the Sonic Origins in the story mode, which we did see that, which is really cool. And we move, of course, we see Sonic 2 here. The Death Egg crashes into Angel Island. Sonic and Tails work together to defeat Dr. Eggman, who attacks West Side Island. The destroyed space fortress, the Death Egg, crashes into Angel Island. And of course, that also leads to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Recover the Master Emerald. Prevent the Death Egg fortress from reviving. Dr. Eggman tricks Knuckles into stealing the Master Emerald and plots to revive the crashed space fortress, the Death Egg. However, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles work together to destroy the Death Egg, thwarting Dr. Eggman's ambitions of world domination. The Master Emerald is restored and Angel Island rises into the sky once again. And once again, it is really cool that we have links here. But I'll talk more about as I said, I'll look into more of that later on. Okay, so yeah, so Sonic Mania does take place after the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Of course, we all remember. I do remember that when it was first announced. A mysterious secret stone, the Phantom Ruby. Dr. Eggman unearths a gem with mysterious powers called the Phantom Ruby, which sends Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles to various worlds, aka levels or areas, both areas old and new, of course, across Angel Island, West Side Island, and South Island. After being defeated by Sonic and his friends, the Phantom Ruby leaves Dr. Eggman's hands and disappears across time and space into modern Sonic's world, Sonic Forces. And yeah, across time and space into, well, modern Sonic's world, aka the present time, in which we knew, of course, classic Sonic is officially younger Sonic. He's not a Sonic from another dimension, he's younger Sonic. The faithful battle over the Phantom Ruby. After saving the world with modern Sonic and Sonic Forces, classic Sonic returns to his original time. See? There we go. They fixed it. He chases right after the flying Phantom Ruby and discovers Mighty and Ray who have been captured. Sonic rescues them, but one of them is a fake. Sonic saves his friends and defeats Dr. Eggman, who has once again obtained the Phantom Ruby, and the world peace is once again secure. Okay, so that's excuse me. That's officially confirmed that Sonic Mania Plus, aka Encore mode, is also canon as well. That is really cool. That is officially really cool that Mighty and Ray are canon again. But it does make me wonder if the Sega Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game is canon. I believe it would be canon, since that is actually that's the first time we ever get to see Mighty and Ray in a Sonic game. And for those of you who don't know what it is, the Sega Sonic the Hedgehog game is an arcade game which you play either as Sonic, Ray, or Mighty when they were captured by Dr. Eggman and they were captured by him and sent to his Eggman Fortress. And you have to, if I remember correctly from the arcade game, you have to use this ball to move Sonic, Ray, or Mighty around, so that way they'll be able to get through each zone. And yeah, I'm sure that Sega Sonic the Hedgehog game is canon, though I don't know what time in the timeline it would take place. Either maybe before Sonic 1 or after Sonic 1. I'm not really sure. Okay, so Sonic Superstars takes place after Sonic Mania. Okay. Dr. Eggman invades the North Star Islands. Dr. Eggman and the bounty hunter Fang invade the North Star Islands. They overwork and drag Trip, who lives there, around. Sonic and his friends use the Chaos Emerald's new power, Emerald Power, to thwart Dr. Eggman and his men's evil deeds. And once again, we see the return of Fang the Sniper. And this should also confirm that Sonic Triple Trouble is also officially canon, because of course Sonic Triple Trouble is the first time we see Fang the Sniper. And I wonder if this also confirms that Sonic the Fighters is also confirmed as well, because you also see not only Fang there, but we also see Bark the Polar Bear and Beam Dynamite, whom we have seen partner up with Fang the Sniper. Or is it Fang the Weasel? But yeah, that is really cool that Sonic Superstars takes place after the events of Sonic Mania. That is really cool. Okay, so here we are with the modern Sonic era. Oh, Sonic 4 episode. Okay, that's cool. Okay, Sonic 4 episode 1 and 2 are officially canon. Okay. A fierce battle with the resurrected Metal Sonic. Oh wait. Actually, this makes me this could confirm. This actually has confirmed my theory that Sonic 4 does take place after the events of Sonic Mania. I don't actually remember making a theory about this. So if I remember in my theory that I believe it was when I was trying to. It was for the if Sonic CD took place during the events of between Sonic 1 and 2, and that was confirmed to be true. And I remember that, and I remember talking about Metal Sonic's return, and originally that Dr. Eggman did use the Phantom Ruby to bring Little Planet back to Earth a bit earlier than it usually does to bring Metal Sonic back, but of course he did lose the Phantom Ruby, and Eggman realized, you know what, I'm gonna be patient and I'm gonna wait till Little Planet comes back naturally, and I was correct. And this is when we get to see Sonic and Eggman in their modern style, and that is really cool. Dr. Eggman has completely revived Metal Sonic. He makes the Death Egg Mark II rise above Little Planet and sets out to conquer the world. However, Sonic once again wins a fierce battle against Metal Sonic, destroying the Death Egg Mark II and dashing Dr. Eggman's ambitions. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, I actually do want to talk about this. And I remember at the end of Sonic 4 Episode 2 that Little Planet was technically not saved. It was still encased in the Death Egg Mark II, like similar to a Dyson Sphere. And I remember in the ending of the Sonic 4 Episode 2 that the Death Egg just shut down. It just shut down, and I remember I remember that Sonic Team was originally going to make an Episode 3 of Sonic 4 of Sonic 4, but unfortunately it was canceled. Though I would like to see an Episode 3 in which Sonic and Tails team up with Knuckles to once again free the free Little Planet and break it free from the Death Egg Mark II. I really would like to see that. And it's possible that Sega could bring Episode 3, but I'm not really sure. Okay, here we are with Sonic Adventure. Sonic and his friends save the world from the threat of perfect chaos. Dr. Eggman releases Chaos, who is sealed away in the Master Emerald, and tries to use it to take over the world. However, Chaos goes out of control and evolves into perfect chaos, bringing the world to the brink of great destruction. However, Thanks to Sonic and the will of many people, the Chaos Emeralds, which have lost their power, are restored and Sonic transforms into Super Sonic. He stops perfect chaos and crushes Dr. Eggman's ambitions. And yeah, that is really cool. That is really cool that actually that would make sense with Sonic 4 episodes 1 and 2 taking place before the events of Sonic Adventure, because we could see Eggman trying to find different ways to try to take over the world, and after, of course, he did stumble into the Mystic Ruins, and as well as the ancient texts regarding perfect chaos, and he's like, I wonder what would happen if I did destroy the Master Emerald. And of course, he was right. He broke the Master Emerald, freed chaos, and sets out to take over the world. And of course, Sonic and his friends have stopped him. Okay, Sonic Shuffle. Looks like Sonic Shuffle is officially canon. The Crisis of Marginal World. Marginal World? Or is it Oh wait, actually, is it Imaginary World? Yeah, it's actually Imaginary World. I think there's a bit of a misspelling there. A different world of light and dreams. Lumina, the guardian spirit of Imaginary World, summons Sonic and his friends to stop Void from conquering Imaginary World. Sonic and Lumina use magic cards and the Force Jewels to save Imaginary World from the brink of collapse. Okay, that is really cool. That's really cool that Sonic Shuffle is officially canon, and I think it's one of the first 3D Sonic party games. And I think I remember that. Yeah, I actually do. I have watched Vindo play Sonic Shuffle, and unfortunately, it's not doing well for him. But yeah, it is really cool that Sonic Shuffle is officially canon right here, and I wonder if this connects to the Sonic Dream Team game. I'm not sure, but that is really cool. And I think this is the first time that Sonic and his friends travel to like different dimensions, like the Imaginary World, besides the special zones. And of course, we do get to see them travel to other dimensions, including Blaze's dimension, the Secret Rings dimension, and even the King Arthur world as well. Oh, here we go. Shadow awakens. Dr. Eggman awakens Shadow and tries to use him to take over the world, but Shadow uses him instead to carry out the plan left by Gerald. In the final stages of his revenge, Shadow regains his true memories thanks to Amy. He cooperates with Sonic and saves the world at the cost of his own life. Yep. And this is still one of the best Sonic games ever made. It really is. And that is interesting that Sonic Adventure 2 takes place after the events of Sonic Shuffle, which would make sense since Sonic Shuffle was made before Sonic Adventure 2, and I think Sonic Adventure 2 was still like in the development mode when Sonic Shuffle was released. Sonic Adventure 2 was definitely one of the last Sonic games to be made for the Dreamcast before the Dreamcast was canceled. Well, when Sega stopped working on consoles and began being a third-party developer. Oh, Sonic Adventure 2! Well, Sonic Advance 2. Cream and Cheese's first adventure. Sonic meets Cream and saves her with her friends. They rescue Vanilla, who is kidnapped, and defeat Dr. Eggman, who is building to build Eggman Land again. Okay, so this is official confirmation that Sonic Advance 2 takes place after the events of Sonic Adventure 2. Okay, that makes sense. Well, that would definitely make sense since Sonic Advance 2, it was definitely made after Sega became a third-party developer, and we didn't see Cream in Sonic Adventure 2. But it is really cool that this is officially canon, and it would make sense since this is Cream and Cheese's first adventure. But since Sonic Advance 2 is here, that would make sense that Sonic Advance 1 could be canon as well. And I believe Sonic Advance could take place either before the events of Sonic Adventure or before the events of Sonic Shuffle. I think those would be the two most logical places in the timeline that Sonic Advance would take place. Ooh, okay, so here we are with Sonic Heroes. Rebellion, a masterpiece. Metal Sonic, who has regained his sense of self, rebels and imprisons Dr. Eggman, and in his name issues a challenge to Sonic and his friends to conquer the world. Metal Sonic gathers Sonic and his friends' biodata during the battle and becomes more powerful, but is ultimately defeated by Sonic and his friends. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that is cool. That is really cool. That actually would make sense, yeah, since Sonic Heroes does take place after the events of Sonic Advance 2, because at that time, Cream and Cheese would get to know Amy, and of course, eventually they would meet Big, and of course, create Team Rose for Sonic Heroes. And of course, Cream and Cheese will also know about Team Sonic as well. It is once again, it is really cool to see an official timeline. Oh, and of course, after the events of Sonic Heroes, get Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow repels Black Doom's invasion of Earth. Black Doom, an alien invader, invades the Earth. Shadow, provoked by Black Doom to learn about his past, travels the world in search of the Chaos Emeralds, sometimes at odds with Sonic and the others. After many struggles, Shadow defeats Black Doom, fulfills the wish entrusted to him, and resolves to overcome his past and move forward. Yeah, I still don't know which pathway could be the official canon one for Shadow the Hedgehog. Though it is really cool that you can make many different choices regarding your decisions in the game, which it is still really cool. I wonder if you'll be able. I think you can travel. I wonder if the official timelines, you go through all the areas. I'm not sure, but I think people were theorizing that Black Doom is actually messing with Shadow's head with all these other pathways, but I'm not really sure. Oh, and here we are. Sonic Battle takes place after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog, and actually that makes sense. Dr. Eggman tries to reboot the ancient weapon Gizoid and uses it to take over the world, but it doesn't work and he discards it. Sonic picks it up, names it Emerald, and raises it. Dr. Eggman tries to use Emerald, who has gained powers as a combat weapon, but ends up causing him to go out of control. There's no way to stop Emerald safely, and Sonic ends up defeating him. And that was a bit tragic. But yeah, Sonic Battle taking place after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog does make sense, since Shadow is eventually moving on from his past, and I remember in Sonic Battle he did come across Emerald, and I believe it is possible that he remembered Emerald when he first encountered him on the arc to stop him from causing destruction. I think it is possible. And he realizes that that Emerald may not have remembered the original events that happened in the Space Colony arc. But yeah, I wonder about that. I think that'll make sense. Ooh, Sonic Advance 3. Okay, Sonic Advance 3. That would make sense since, well, Zemil is born. It's actually Gemerald. Yeah, Sonic Advance 3 does officially take place in canon because, well, it says right here, Dr. Eggman used the power of the Chaos Emeralds to split the world into 7 parts. And what's interesting is that in the rebooted Archie Sonic timeline, that was the original first Genesis wave for the Sonic Archie reboot series. He repeatedly used Zamil, I'm calling him Gemerald, a combat robot he developed based on Emerald against Sonic and his friends, but was unable to win, and eventually Gemerald went berserk. Dr. Eggman was defeated. Gemerald was then retrieved and repaired and adjusted by Tails, and began living as a member of the Cream family. Yeah, and it is really cool that Gemerald was brought back and was given a happy ending, which is really freaking cool. But yeah, once again, it is really cool that we get to see the Sonic Advance series and the Sonic Battle game being officially canon to the Sonic timeline. Oh, Sonic Rush! Blaze, the princess from another world, comes to Sonic's world. Blaze comes to Sonic's world from another world in pursuit of the stolen Soul Emeralds. Through her interactions with Amy and Cream and flying alongside Sonic, Blaze begins to trust Sonic and the others a little. Sonic and Blaze work together to defeat Dr. Eggman and Eggman Mega, and Blaze recovers the Soul Emeralds and returns to her own world. But yeah, once again, it is really cool that this is also officially canon, and not only that, but it is really cool that we also see one of the levels from Sonic Rush being shown in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which is really cool, aka Water Palace. And yeah, once again, it still confirms that Sonic Rush is, of course, canon, which also will lead to Sonic Rush Adventure being canon as well. Okay, so here we are with Sonic 06. A major incident surrounding the Flames of Disaster begins to unfold. In order to obtain the Flames of Disaster, Dr. Eggman kidnaps Princess Elise, who is sealed away by Iblis. Sonic rushes to rescue her, and Silver, who travels back in time to defeat Sonic in order to save the future. Shadow, who is on a mission to Dr. Eggman's base, and the mysterious being Mephiles, all become entangled in a major incident, each with their own intentions and destinies. And yeah, Sonic 06 once again has had a lot of ambition, but unfortunately, with it being rushed, yeah, it was a bit rushed, and yeah, it was a bit buggy, and yeah. But it had a really good story, and of course we all know that after the events of Sonic 06, they erased all those events. So this has become non-canon, but well, not non-canon. It became erased in the new timeline, but for what we know from Shadow Generations, Shadow will once again encounter Mephiles, who wants to be brought back to the original timeline, and Shadow's like, nope, you're not gonna be freed that easily. Okay, so after those events, which were eventually erased, battle against the Babylon Rogues in the fastest race in the world. Dr. Eggman is hosting the Extreme Gear World's fastest competition. Excuse me. Sonic and his friends compete in a heated race against the Babylon Rogues for the prize, the Master Emerald. However, the race is a trap set by Dr. Eggman to steal the treasures of the Babylon Temple. And yeah, it's still really cool that the Sonic Riders series is also officially canon. And yeah, and it is really cool that we're also getting the return of course, the Babylon Rogues, as well as the Extreme Gear for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which I am really excited about, and I really can't wait. And yeah, this is also cool that once again that the Sonic Riders series is canon. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so Sonic Rush Adventure does take place at the events of Sonic Riders. Sonic and Tails are caught in a storm and washed up on Blaze's world. They are rescued by Marine, a self-proclaimed adventurer, and while investigating the islands, they are reunited with Blaze. However, before they can enjoy their reunion, they're caught up in a national treasure, the jeweled staff, being stolen right before their eyes, and they end up chasing pirates with Blaze. Sonic and his friends defeat Dr. Eggman and Eggman Mega, who are controlling the pirates excuse me, and retrieve the jeweled staff. And once again, it is also cool that this sequel to Sonic Rush is also confirmed to be canon. Really freaking cool. Okay, so here we are. So Sonic Rider Zero Gravity. Okay, so that takes place at the events of Sonic Rush Adventure. Okay. Rampage of the Sky Ruins. The Babylon Garden. Jet's ancestor was capable of warp travel through gravity conversion. That spaceship was the modern Babylon Garden, and the Ark of the Stars was its engine unit. When all 5 of the Ark of the Stars gathered in the Babylon Garden floating in the sky, the output went out of control and the Babylon Garden was on the verge of turning to a black hole. Sonic, Jet, and the others were able to avert the worst case scenario. And that is also really cool that we get to see that for the Sonic Riders series, we get to learn more about Jet's ancestors as well as the Babylon Garden. And yeah, this is still really freaking cool. Ooh, okay. Excuse me. So Sonic Unleashed takes place after the events of Sonic Rise Zero Gravity. Okay. In order to realize his ambitions, Dr. Eggman took the powers from Super Sonic, split the planet into 7, and forcibly awakened Dark Gaia. Sonic, along with the amnesiac Chip, traveled to the Gaia temples to restore the powered Chaos Emeralds in the world, regaining his powers and defeating Dark Gaia. And yeah, it is really cool that it is interesting that Zero Gravity takes place before the events of Sonic Unleashed. That is really freaking cool. And once again, it's really cool that they made an official timeline. I do wonder when the Sonic Storybook series takes place, because Sonic himself did mention the Storybook series, as he said himself. No stranger to rescuing genies in magic books or saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park. Talking of which, friendship with the alien wisps. Dr. Eggman takes over the planets where wisps live and builds Egg Planet Park, or Dr. Eggman's amusement park. He plans to steal the powerful energy of the alien wisps who live there and activate a terrible weapon. Sonic and his friends cooperate with the Wisps, even though they can't communicate with each other and thwart Dr. Eggman's ambitions. Now, I do remember that the Sonic Colors game was released for both the Wii and for the DS, and of course the Wii version was eventually re-released for the other platforms as well later on. And I wonder which one is officially canon, because we get to see more of Sonic's friends in the DS version, while it's only Sonic and Tails in the Wii version. But I believe that the combination of both the Wii and the DS version would make sense, since we also get to see Mother Wisp from the DS version of Sonic Colors make a return in Team Sonic Racing. So yeah, it is possible that both the Wii version and the DS version are like the one and the same, which would make the most sense. To Sonic's past and future. After his defeat at the Eggman's Incredible Interstellar Amusement Park, Dr. Eggman finds the Time Eater, who can manipulate time and space. He uses its power to summon his past self and begin a plan to rewrite the timeline. Sonic is sucked into the Time Eater, which suddenly appears and wakes up in a world of pure white. He meets a smaller, younger version of himself there, and together they work together to restore the world and his friends, whose life force and color have been sucked out, and defeat the two Dr. Eggman and the Time Eater. And of course, Sonic X Shadow Generations. That is still one of my absolute favorite Sonic games of all time. Well, Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations, and I really liked how they did it. And there were also parts of the remade version of Sonic Generations in which every single time every single time you rescue one of Sonic's friends, that you were able to communicate. That Sonic was able to communicate with them after freeing them, which is really freaking cool. And I also like the new missions in which you try to rescue the Chow as well, and it is still really cool. A fleeting moment of darkness and light is resurrected. Okay, so this is of course Shadow's story in Sonic and Shadow Generations. Taking advantage of the time-space anomaly caused by the Time Eater, Black Doom is resurrected. When he reunites with Shadow in the white space, he provokes him and encourages him to awaken his powers. Meanwhile, Maria and Gerald, who were supposed to have died long ago, are also resurrected. They spend a fleeting, precious time together in the stopped space-time. In the end, Black Doom attempts to absorb Shadow, who has become the strongest Black Arms warrior, but Shadow's heart has not been consumed by darkness, and he refuses. With Maria's wish in his heart, he defeats Black Doom. That is Shadow's story in Sonic and Shadow Generations, still beautifully well done. I love that. And the ending is still so tragic. When we have to say goodbye to Maria and Gerald again. This is still really good. Okay, so Sonic FreeRiders takes place. So Sonic FreeRiders takes place after the events of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Extreme Gear World Championships led in the Tereg Kingdom. Dr. Eggman disguises himself as King Doc of the Tar Egg Kingdom in order to embed the biodata of Sonic and the other racers into Metal Sonic. Of course, he holds the World Grand Prix, a global competition for extreme gear, where the winner will receive a huge prize of money and treasure. The race begins with the thoughts of each participating team intersects. And I also remember this, and yeah, a lot of people have mixed feelings about the Sonic FreeRiders being on the Kinect, and yeah, I wish it. I know that there is a mod for Sonic FreeRiders in which you can play it on a regular gaming controller. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have that mod, but you can look it up. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is really cool for Sonic FreeRiders to have, it is a cool concept, but I just wish they didn't put it on. I mean, I know I've played it on the Kinect a couple of times before, and it's been years since I played the Kinect. But yeah, it should just. But yeah, it is really interesting that Sonic FreeRiders takes place after the events of Sonic and Shadow Generations. I always believed that it would take place before the events of Sonic and Shadow Generations, or even before the events of Sonic Colors. I always thought that Sonic FreeRiders would take place after the events of Sonic Unleashed. And I still I think for the events of the Sonic Storybook series, Let me see here. I think the Sonic Storybook series. It's possible that that Sonic and the Secret Rings could take place either after the events of Sonic Rush or Sonic Riders. I think those could be the most logical places where Sonic and the Secret Rings possibly could have taken place. Or maybe after the events of Sonic Rush Adventure. Actually, I think it's possible it could take place after the events of Sonic Rush Adventure, because I think after Sonic and Tails return to their world, Sonic, well, of course, Sonic did get a bit of a cold, and as we've seen from the beginning of Sonic and the Secret Rings. And for Sonic and the Black Knight, it could take place, I believe it could take place after the events of Sonic Unleashed, because at the end of Sonic and the Black Knight, well, Sonic was telling his story to Amy about being brought into the King Arthur world and realized that he was the actual true King Arthur. And Amy's like, "Oh, you're just excusing that because you forgot about our date." And I remember in Sonic Unleashed, Amy did say that once you're done saving the world, would you like to go on a date? And yeah, you would say yes, and she's like, "Oh yes, awesome!" And of course, I think that'll make the most sense for Sonic and the Black Knight. Or actually, it is possible that Sonic and the Black Knight could take place probably at the end of Sonic. Well, probably after the end of Sonic Free Riders, because that was also at the end of Sonic Free Riders. Amy did say Sonic that after the World Grand Prix, she wants to go on a date with him. So it is possible that it could take place after the events of either Sonic Free Riders or Sonic Unleashed, though I'm leaning a bit more towards Sonic Unleashed for Sonic and the Black Knight. Okay, so here we are. The Sonic Lost World. The Deadly Six betray Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman finds the Lost Text, a mystical land where the Zeddy clan live, and uses the conch shell, which is their weak point, to enslave the Deadly Six and absorb life energy from the Earth. However, after losing the conch shell, the Deadly Six betray Dr. Eggman, banish him, steal the device, and suck out all the life energy, putting the Earth in danger of collapse. Sonic and Dr. Eggman have no choice but to join forces to defeat the Deadly Six, and they defeat them. What's interesting is that I also did say in another theory video that it's possible that the Lost Hex could similarly be a place, could sort of be the Bermuda Triangle of Sonic's world, where it is a mystical land, and it's rarely unknown, because it's very much of the world is unknown, and how it came to be, and where the Deadly Six came from, or where the Zeddy came from, or if the Zeddy themselves had a connection to the Ancients or to the Black Arms. Who knows? I actually would like to know more about that. Okay, so Team Sonic Racing. King Dodonpa holds up the car race in the Donpa Kingdom. Dr. Eggman steals the ultimate power engine developed by Dodonpa of the Donpa Kingdom and plots to use it for evil purposes. However, just as he is using the engine for evil purposes, he is defeated by Sonic and his friends, and his ambitions are thwarted. Okay, so I don't think that this would be taking place before the events of Sonic Forces, as we see here. I'll talk more about as the reason why. Sonic and his avatar team up to free the world that was 99% conquered by Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman creates an infinite army with the power of the newly acquired Phantom Ruby, and with Infinite at his side, he takes control of 99% of the world. However, Dr. Eggman and his allies are defeated by the Resistance Army formed by Sonic's friends and the Avatar who joined it. Modern Sonic and Classic Sonic, and peace is restored to the world. Now, I know this would definitely take place after the events of Sonic Lost World, but definitely not before not after the events of Team Sonic Racing. Well, the reason is that I believe Team Sonic Racing actually takes place after the events of Sonic Forces, is because one, the release date was after Sonic Forces, and two, there were excuse me. There were also levels in Team Sonic Racing which had many of Dr. Eggman's Death Egg robots which you race through, and unfortunately I don't think it would take place before the events of Sonic Forces, because that would not make sense as to why those robots were there. And I think this will be my only gripe on the my only pet peeve at this timeline, because yeah, if Team Sonic Racing does take place before the events of Sonic Forces, it will not make sense for Dr. Eggman's giant Death Egg robots to be there, or well, to be in places or to be in some areas of the world which were, well, destroyed by Eggman. But with it taking place after the events of Sonic Forces, that would make the most sense. It would be. I mean, if you guys think that that Team Sonic Racing does take place after the events of Sonic Forces, please let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, so here we are. Sonic Frontiers. A mysterious girl holds Knuckles captive in cyberspace. So yeah, we definitely, of course, Sonic Frontiers does take place after the events of Sonic Forces, and I do believe Team Sonic Racing. While investigating the ancient ruins he discovered on Angel Island, Knuckles is sent to Ares Island. Just as Knuckles thinks that Dr. Eggman is behind it, a mysterious girl appears and traps him in cyberspace. Oh yes, I remember this. I think it's the Sonic Frontiers prologue. I believe it's Convergence, I believe. I might be wrong with the name, but it is one of the Sonic prologues in which we did see Knuckles exploring his island to try to know more about his past, and of course, he is sent to Ares Island, of course, and that is when we do see him, well, learn a bit more about his past and the origins of both of the ancients and, well, not the ancients, but about Chao. Sonic Frontiers. Sonic and Sage protect the world from the end. Dr. Eggman attempted to use the technology of the ancients of the Starfall Islands and connected to the network, causing a series of incidents. Sage evolved by accessing the ancients' technology and began to interfere with Sonic in order to protect Dr. Eggman, who was trapped in cyberspace. In the process, Sage noticed the unknown potential of Sonic, whose answers could not be found through calculations, and suggested to Dr. Eggman that they fight the true enemy. Together, they defeated the end and saved the world. And yeah, that is, well, the summary of Sonic Frontiers, and aka Sonic Frontiers: The Final Horizon. It is still really cool with Sonic Frontiers. I really love that game. And yeah, that's it. That's the entirety of what we're officially caught up with the Sonic timeline. And yeah, we still haven't heard about the next mainline Sonic game yet, but I'm still really excited for the Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and I don't know if that's canon or not, but we'll find out later. 200 years later, the future world before the change. The world has been devastated by Iblis. Silver and Blaze are fighting an endless battle against Iblis, who keeps resurrecting. With the guidance of Mephiles, a mysterious figure who suddenly appears, the two travel back in time to the era in which Sonic and his friends live, to kill the person who is said to be the Iblis trigger and cause of this devastation. Excuse me. But yeah, this is definitely the events of, well, of course, Sonic 06, and we all know that, of course, eventually this timeline was erased. Altered Future World. Due to Sonic and Elise's changes in history, the calamity, well, the flames of disaster no longer exists, and the disaster itself has not occurred, leaving the world in a state of peace. And that's it. That is the official timeline of, well, the official Sonic the Hedgehog timeline. And are there a few, like, well, it is still really good. I really do like how they did it. And there are a couple of suggestions, which I want to, if they want to update it, they should update like what other Sonic games there are, like, well, making sure that Sonic Advance is definitely canon, and as well as the Sonic Storybook series, and as well as Sonic Triple Trouble, maybe Sonic Chaos, and Sonic the Fighters. I don't know if Sonic R is canon, but it is also really cool that Sonic Shuffle is canon. Yeah, the only change that they should do is put the Team Sonic Racing summary after the events of Sonic Forces, because I believe that would make the most sense for that. But overall, it is actually pretty good. Well, I mean, I was a bit surprised that the Sonic Freeriders game does take place after the events of Sonic X-Shao Generations. That is really interesting. Yeah, once again, they should also add in the Storybook series and Sonic Advance and a couple of the other Sonic games. And once again, overall, it is still really cool that we get an official timeline. And and Sonic Superstars and Sonic Mania are officially part of the mainline canon, instead of being like a alternate timeline, which I am glad. And yeah, I think it's more like a time loop, with classic Sonic going forward in time to help modern Sonic before returning to his own timeline, as well as classic Sonic meaning modern Sonic and Sonic X-Shao Generations. So I think it's definitely more of, I think it's definitely more like a Back to the Future, more like Back to the Future, which is sort of like a time loop instead of either Dragon Ball Z, in which you go back in time and create a new branch timeline while your original timeline exists. And it's also similar to Avengers Endgame. But yeah, they went the other timeline route. But yeah, this is still really, really cool. And I don't know if they'll update it later on, adding more of the Sonic games. But we'll probably do it. They'll probably update it later. But overall, this timeline is still really cool. It is really cool that this is official. Yeah, it's just excuse me. Yeah, the Team Sonic Racing takes place before the events of Sonic Forces. That's just my own nitpick. Yeah, that's just it. But overall, it is actually pretty good. And yeah, once again, if you want to check out the world history, it will be once again under the Sonic channel. And there's definitely a lot more updates for the Sonic channel, including topics, characters, history, and many others as well. So that was officially my analysis and breakdown of the official Sonic world history. I mean, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the official Sonic world history timeline? And what other Sonic games would you like to add into the timeline? And are there any minor? Are there a couple of changes would you like to change the timeline? Like if you want Sonic, like if you like it, like me, if you want, if Team Sonic Racing sounds it sounds sounds better if it takes place after the events of Sonic Forces rather than before the events. Well, and what other thoughts would you what other thoughts do you have for the Sonic World History timeline? Well, let me know in the comment section down below. Well, that's gonna be a little time I have to take for this video, but don't worry, we'll start playing up more news, topics, updates, discussions, and reactions. Look forward to more soon. So stay tuned for more. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to check out my other Let's Plays where I do all kinds of gaming content, including 2D games, side-scrolling games, action-adventure games, racing games, fighting games, horror games, visual novel games, and many other games. Also, be sure to check out my other content where I do reviews, discussions, reactions, top 10s, voice impressions, challenges, and theories. And if this is the type of content you're watching, I'm Gabe for all these videos, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell on. So once again, thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Speedstreak